So I'm a boomer, and I have known Pokemon since the olden days. But around Black and White, my love and passion for the game just kind of stopped, for whatever reason. I never grew to hate Pokemon, but my response was very neutral. For example, when Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee came out, I teared up a little with the trailer, but I still had no interest to play it afterwards. Now, thanks to streaming, I give viewers a chance to make me play games that are sometimes less than desirable. Oh my gosh, that was so bad. Oh.
I told you so.
Oh.
You should trust Assault when he tells you these things.
For Pokemon Violet, the timing was right where, when I was asked to play the game, I instead wanted to play the whole game for one reason. The content. So I did. But did I enjoy it? How did the game fare overall?
Your gloves and your bag.
Well,
Everything else you can't change besides 4 default uniforms that you do.
Well, I better get a good hat then. Well, let's break it down easily with the holy trifecta of game reviewing. The gameplay, story, and music. Before that though, let's have a quick intro. The game starts off like the others. You pick a player character avatar who is either a boy or a girl, and then go on your way. I picked the duck, because he's blue, and possibly a pirate. Oh, how wrong I was. Donald, what happened to you? I instantly wanted to name him Donald, for completely no reason whatsoever, and throughout the beginning of the game, what did I do? I fell asleep. However, as the game progressed and I started getting deeper into the game, it opened up and I started enjoying it more. Confuse me. I'm flying. Okay, this is actually really nice. Why am I dropping? Why am I dropping? No! No! That was stupid. That was stupid. I'm upset. The game supposedly had a ton of bugs, and I was expecting something bad, but nothing too horrendous happened. I got lost a couple of times. I lost several times, but eventually I conquered. So I guess I had a good time. But in a review, I guess you kind of want to hear how it all came together. So, how did it all come together? Gameplay. Gameplay is the most important aspect of any review. I would say overall the gameplay stays pretty true to the core Pokemon formula. Even if it's open world, the fighting is basically just a very complex rock paper scissors system where one type beats the other type and so on.
Gardevoir is not a grass type.
Really?
No, it's Psychic Fairy.
Am I dead? I am dead. I guess I just assumed because Gardevoir is green. Random encounters are forever gone, and you can actively choose if you like to fight Pokemon or not. However, some aspects surrounding this core formula have changed. Unlike buying TMs, in order to get TMs you either find them everywhere around the world, or craft them at the TM store. Unfortunately, I never wanted to do this because I never had enough ingredients, and I never wanted to go out of my way to get them. Can't make it, 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 can't make it. I can make Mud Shot, not that good. Can't make it, can't make it, can't make it, can't make it. What's this? Flame Charge. Nope. Can't use it, can't make 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 it. So I just fought with the moves that I had. Egg hatching is mostly the same, just instead of breeding houses, you have picnics. Again, I'm a filthy casual, so I was never worried about the EVs of Pokemon, and shiny hunting has never interested me, so I skipped these parts entirely. Hey, does terrestrialization count as having a shiny Pokemon?
No.
What do you mean? Look how shiny they are. The UI of finding friends on the internet is more streamlined, though I hear can still be pretty spotty. I would say the two biggest differences in the formula are terrestrialization. Oh, she's terrestrializing. And it being open world. One second. Hi, everyone. Do you see the Iron Titan? Iron Treads? Hello? Is that the Iron Titan over there? No. Is the Iron Titan up there? No. There it is. Is that the Iron Titan? Are you sure? Okay, that was a stupid joke, but
Dora, shut up.
Being open world is both a pro and a con. It is a great feeling to be able to go everywhere and anywhere whenever you want. It is not a great feeling to go in an area that is 10 to 20 levels higher than you and get bodied. So while it's technically open world, there is still a linear instruction that needs to be followed. And unfortunately, they didn't really do a good job of directing you, and it's easy to get lost. So the first Pokemon gym is Katie, the bug-type Pokemon gym leader. After that, I wasn't sure where to go, so I used the Pokemon Center, and it told me to go to Kofu, who is the fourth gym. And did not have a good time. Lesson learned, I guess. The game really should have done level scaling, but instead it's very easy to get yourself stuck in an area that is more difficult than where you should be. So while it is open world, it really is not. Being open world is also great if you can get to areas with relative speed, but it's all so slow, and it bugs me that your bicycle is only slightly faster than walking. And it would be much better if they changed the map button to something different. Having to go into a separate menu to open up your map is very annoying. Despite these petty grievances of mine, I would say having an open world is better than not having one, so I still approve. Next, terrestrialization. And this might be a hot take, but I think this mechanic is probably the best one they've ever introduced. Look guys, my fighting type turned into a fighting type. Mega Evolution is the pinnacle of what should have been done, but for some reason Game Freak only relegated Mega Evolution to specific Pokemon. Same with Z moves. Dynamaxing was good because all the Pokemon could do it, but it also was kind of lame because everyone could do it. You were only allowed 3 turns to Dynamax, and most often than not in gameplay, the strat was if your Pokemon uses it, then your opponent uses it. And even then, there were Gigantamax Pokemon, which were special unique types of Dynamax Pokemon that only specific Pokemon could use. Terrestrialization is different because everyone can do it, and not only that, you don't want to do it when your opponent does it. Terrestrialization changes your Pokemon's type and then gives buffs to the moves to the Pokemon's changed type. I believe it is a great way to completely change the formula without changing the formula. Though I have to say that most of the headdresses look pretty stupid. I wasn't sure if that was ground or rock type. Why?
Freaking stupid though. You can't tell me that doesn't look stupid.
I think all of them kind of look stupid in their own way. I think the only one that doesn't...
Cap, I gotta say something, Cap. That is the most wise thing you said all night.
There are a couple elephants in the room I should address here. First, the fashion and customization. The customization is extremely limited in this game compared to Sword and Shield. However, it isn't part of the core gameplay, so in the end it didn't bug me. A slight annoyance, but one I could get over. I count customization as bonus content. Consider, for just a moment, Dark Souls or Elden Ring, where you design a character and then put on a helmet the entire game. Is customization really that important? Next, and hear me out on this one, the bugs didn't really bug me. There is some nuance to it. The core of the gameplay is super intricate rock, paper, scissors. While the bugs and frame rate issues are annoying, yes, they didn't really ruin the core game experience. Nothing was game breaking enough for me to find issue with it. And honestly, I thought they were funny more than annoying. Should Pokemon have come out with a game that didn't have bugs or frame rate issues? Yes. But since it didn't break the game, for me at least, I can't find fault with it. In the end, Pokemon is a game about catching Pokemon, raising them, interacting with them, and then fighting with them. It hit all the bullet points, and it didn't ruin it. So I can't hate on it. Music. I will say that most music in the game is pretty good, just not memorable. However, there were 4 songs in particular that got stuck in my head pretty good. First was the Levincia City theme. Second was Area Zero's theme. Third was the AI boss fight. Fourth, and my personal favorite, was the Ace Tourney fight. I will mention this here, however. Every gym battle during terrestrialization tried to do a chorus using screaming fans. It's fantastic. There is one thing that Sword and Shield did better, is that I believe that game in particular most closely resembled what real life would be like if Pokemon was an actual sport. When you Dynamax in Sword and Shield, it makes sense to have the whooping of a crowd in the background. When you terrestrialize in Scarlet and Violet, it feels a little hollow to me. A small gripe, but a bit upsetting to lose that fanfare. Story. I gotta say, this was quite the improvement. Instead of two stories combined and intertwined into one, there are actually 3 different stories that you can play at your leisure, and then the endgame. The Pokemon League, the Urban Mystica, Team Star, and then the endgame. And they call it independent study. I mean, what happens if you're injured during this time? I mean, are you in charge of your own insurance, or does the school have to pay? What's the homework assignments during this time? Is there homework? Do I have to turn anything in? Is there online schooling? Like, do you have to have parental permission?
Trainers go out when they're 10 years old. What are you talking about permission?
Oh, that's true. You should have mentioned that sooner, Clavel. Look, people have already left. First, the Pokemon League. The Pokemon League was your standard run-of-the-mill 8 gyms, Elite Four, champion run. First off, your rival, Nemona, is probably one of my favorites to come through. Pokemon has been doing this thing where instead of mean rivals, you get friendly ones. Nemona, however, is unique. She is a friendly rival, but she is purposefully nuzlocking herself because she's played the game before and wants to go along for the ride with you. A clever way to get the best of both worlds. Next, I have to say this has some of the best gym leaders in a long while. All of them with unique and fun quirks that made them enjoyable. I think the most forgettable for me was Brassius, who was the grass type, and he just was, I guess. And then there's Larry, the extraordinary everyman. the most relatable gym leader to have ever graced a Pokemon game because you felt his plight in your soul. While the leaders themselves were fantastic, the challenges were kind of silly and stupid. Rolling this giant olive is so much fun. Look at how wonderful these sunflowers look. I sure love looking around town for clues about some ingredients.
This might be a good spot to find some ingredients.
Also, I mentioned level scaling earlier. Unless you're trying to do everything, you can easily catch yourself underleveled very easily. I repeated myself for emphasis. I do not regret being a filthy casual and using items. While all of these were nitpicks, I think the one thing that really hurts this route more than any is Geeta, the champion, who is probably the weakest in the entire series. I'm not sure why they did this. Her team isn't awful. The big thing is that for some reason, Kingambit is in the front and Glamora, a hazard setter, is in the back. It's almost as if Game Freak developed the team, realized it was too difficult, and then simply switched these two. Or maybe they realized they never had a terrestrialized rock Pokemon and shoved it on. Either way, it hurt the experience. My philosophy is that a final boss should instill a little drop of fear due to their difficulty. And to win, you have to use a culmination of all your skills you've learned to win. It's okay to lose to the final boss a couple of times. Unfortunately, because Geeta was so easy, it kind of ruined the whole thing, leaving one wanting. And you might be thinking, well, maybe Nemona is the final boss. No. If anything, maybe she should have been the secret super boss that you dealt with after the fact. In every game, defeating the champion has always been the end goal to the Pokemon League. That is the one thing about the formula that should not have changed. Team Star. Hasta la vista. Oh, that's... Ow! Oh!
What?
Oh, Hasta la Vista is just so cringy and clever and yet cringy at the same time. I really like the story of this one. Bullies who, by trying to out-bully the bullies, get outcasted for being bullies. A good wholesome story with a happy ending of trying to get the bullies back to school. You and Clive work together to try to take down Team Star by defeating the bullies, the ones who are now bosses of their respective camps, so the teams can disband and hopefully return to school and not get expelled. I thought the characters were fun. I loved the designs, and all the bosses were difficult, though I was extremely underleveled for all of them. The worst part was actually the gauntlet run thing to get to the boss. The concept is fun, theoretically, have Pokemon fight other Pokemon in a more realistic fashion within a time frame, but the entire time I felt like a zombie just waiting to die. It was that boring for me. That was so fun. I'm so happy and excited. The bosses though, whoo boy. Yes, I was underleveled, but dang were these clever. All the bosses had Revavrooms that were modified to specific typings dependent on what the bosses were. The first one really put me for a loop because it kept raising its speed after every attack. Also, is no one going to question the fact that Team Star invented cars from Pokemon? Anyway, fun experience, but poor start. The Herba Mystica. I found this to be both the most tedious and also the most wholesome. Technically, trying to do this one first is also the best because the rewards power up your Miraidon's abilities to be able to traverse areas faster. But that depends on if you're leveled enough to try. Arvin, the son of the professor, is trying to find the Herba Mystica to help heal his Mebostiff. He points you in the direction of extra powerful Pokemon called Titans that will most likely hold clues to where the location of these are, and sure enough, you find them. I think the story is completely heartfelt and wholesome. He healed his dog, but also not very memorable. Go to Titan, beat Titan, Titan eats plants, Titan powers up, beat Titan again, eat sandwich, repeat. And the worst part about it is I always had to give away my sandwich.
Capture's so mean! What did Miraidon do to you to deserve this mistreatment?
This is my
You're making him
sandwich.
cry!
Look, I've already told it 6 times. This is my sandwich.
The endgame. I love the endgame. Learning that the professor who has been contacting you is actually an AI meant to continue on the professor's work, and that the professor died in an accident trying to protect the Miraidon. Like, someone actually died.
He died? And this is supposed to be a kid's movie.
Having Penny's technical prowess, Nemona's muscle, and Arven's, relationship status all come together in an epic showdown. And then the AI turning on you at the end, creating some of the best scenes in all of Pokemon. However, I haven't mentioned it yet, but voice acting. A lot of players have commented on Pokemon needing voice acting in the past, and often I've disagreed, simply because the game was focused around, well, glorified rock, paper, scissors. It didn't need it. That was until Pokemon decided to create a fully open world story-driven adventure. I realized this at the very beginning of the game, during the tutorial section, and I was getting annoyed with all the dialogue bubbles popping up. If you're going to make a more story-driven game, voice acting lets the story-driven moments dig harder while simultaneously streamlining the user interface.
Look, I'm actually gonna probably declare this now. Sword and Shield didn't need voice acting, but I can tell that they're working a lot harder on this game, and I think this game does need voice acting.
And it was most so in this section.
Guys, I want to run around and read at the same time. I'm so annoyed.
I have never been more annoyed than trying to run in the game while simultaneously trying to read prompt. Here's the thing, you don't even need to do voice acting for the whole game. Just these 4 characters, Nemona, Penny, Arven, and Clavel. Everything else you can get away without. You don't even need it for your main character. And while we're at it, since we're here, I forgot to mention earlier, if you're going to make a game with different dialogue boxes, at least have those dialogue boxes have weight and meaning behind them.
Pokeball was also in mine. I assume you see it from a young man called Arven. No longer in a position to be able to manage that Pokemon myself. That's why I was asking you, will you continue looking after Miraidon on my behalf? No. Yet it is clear to see from the way Miraidon reacts to you, you must be a kind trainer. Your bond seems quite undeniable. What? I said no. Hello?
I think another small personal gripe I have with the endgame as well is the real professor. I don't think anyone mentions it, but he was kind of a crazy mad scientist so focused on his work that he neglected everything else. In context, he was so mad that even his AI robot, instead of trying to destroy the world like most dystopian sci-fi fantasies, calculated the professor was crazy and tried to stop the time machine.
There it is. There's the friendship is magic moment right there. Like, how many future Pokemon was he planning on capturing? Realistically, in my head, like, I go into more jaded and just be like, they're very destruction. Brings the that's usually that's usually the worry. It brings the destruction to the ecological balance of whatever age, you know. The original professor would say that such destruction is just the natural order of things. Okay.
So when the AI told Arvin, "I love you," my only thought was,
Are you sure about that?
Despite the small inconsistencies of everything, everywhere, I think that the way the game turned out, all the stories individually, it all came together for a more cohesive and more fulfilling and enjoyable experience. I think this is the way that Pokemon needs to move forward in. So, I approve.
Final thoughts. So, here's the most important question.
Starter question that can fail you too.
This is no, not this question.
If you say no, they auto fail you. Do not answer
anything
no.
but this question.
Why? If you do not like Pokemon, why? They fail you if you say no.
Oh no. What do I do?
They auto fail you if you say no.
Oh, well, I have to beat the Mona.
I hate to say it, I had a good time overall. After I got through the first half and I didn't have to walk everywhere anymore, I found I started enjoying the game a lot more. I'm actually happy I played the game. I laughed, I felt for the characters, I bopped to the music. I don't have any huge problems with the game. Some nitpicks here and there, but nothing game breaking. Was this game good enough to make me get the next game though?
Oh, ow. No! Oh, come on.
No, I'm still not a raving Pokemon fan. But if the next game comes out, it'll at least come on my radar of potential things I might want to do. I'll actually put it on my list of things I want to do. Granted, the very bottom of my list, but Pokemon wasn't on the list before, so that's definitely an improvement. I give this game unofficial rating of 8 out of 10. Thanks for watching.
Look, what? Mr. Duck, why? Why? Is there something in here I'm supposed to do?
You're supposed to walk to your neighbor's house.
Is that really it?
Yep.
That's it? Then why are they all trying to get in here? Look how hard. Look. Hello, Duck. You're trying
You sure
so
you want a
hard.
Pokemon that dumb on your team?
Yes. Yes.
But it doesn't even know how to go around a fence.
Yeah.